constitutes contrasting discourse. The discussion is a discourse. And what constitutes the disagreement is a contrast between the two people or more. So we are going to look at the contrasting discourses, the types of them, and how we can resolve such disagreements when they arise. So first, it is important to identify the disagreement and know how to solve it. The first is a verbal dispute, from the word verb. Now, a verbal dispute is a dispute that arises between people engaged in a discussion as a result of the differences in the meaning they assign to a key word in the discussion. Usually, there are certain keywords that animate, that drive discussions. So when the people engaged in the discussion have different meanings to it, obviously, the context in which they will understand the discussion will be different. So we know that some words have two or more meanings. And so if one of the discussants is reading a particular meaning into the word, different from the one that the other is reading into it, the whole text, the meaning of the text will be different to each other. Now, look at this example. The key word in this discussion is lessons. Mr. Boateng uses the word lessons in a different context, providing a different meaning to it. Bright is also using the same word lessons in a context that is completely different from that of Boateng. And so the way Bright constructed his argument, reading the meaning of the word, reading a different meaning to the word lessons, gives a different dimension entirely. And that constitutes a verbal dispute. In the case of Boateng, the word lessons means assignments, quizzes, homework, and all that. That is the context in which you use the word lessons. Bright used the word lessons in a different context to mean life experience. And so if you look at the two, they are making an argument using the keyword, but each of them is reading a different meaning into the keyword. And that constitutes a disagreement between them. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
So I can say, for example, somebody will say, oh, Kofi is lying about Gilbert. And another person, Collins, will say, this is not true. Kofi is not lying on Gilbert. Or Kofi, because if you are lying about somebody, it's to say untruth, to say falsehood about that person. And maybe to lie on a person, on a surface, on any structure, is to put yourself in a certain way, in a certain way on that particular surface, body, or structure. And these are two different things. Somebody can say that Gilbert is on admission in Kwalebu. And another person, John, will say, this is not true. Gilbert gained admission to GCTU to study IT. That is a verbal dispute. The verb there is admission. used in the noun form. And both, the two people are using the word admission, providing different meanings to it. And so it creates a dispute. Then we have substantive dispute. The other name for a substantive dispute is a factual dispute. It's about the facts, not about the keyword. It's about the facts. What are the facts about the issue which is in contention? Are the facts the same? No. If the facts are not the same, which of the facts constitutes the most appealing or is the most appealing? So sometimes we make this, we engage in a dispute. I don't want to use the word argument. We engage in a dispute with people. We are discussing something. He says this, and I say that. Our positions are not the same. Just like how you have a situation of a kind of a debate in the secondary school. Maybe this group takes this position for a contention. Another group takes a position against the contention. They are all providing facts to support their case. That is a factual dispute. When the panel assesses the debate, the panel will look at the group that has the most appealing facts and has been able to articulate the facts in a coherent way. So for a substantive dispute, first of all, identify the facts that are displayed by the different discussants. And you can find a situation between NDC and MPP. They are debating, discussing a particular topic. The facts or the position and the facts that MPP will provide will be different from the position and facts that NDC will also provide. That is a factual dispute. Which of them do you take? You don't take one position based on your idiosyncrasies. The word idiosyncrasies, let me see.
Quarter of an hour played, and we wait the first attempt on goal.
Based on your idiosyncrasies. Idiosyncrasy simply means your likes or dislikes, your biases. Your biases. You may have a bias in favor of something or a bias against something. So you may say, for me, I am NDC or I am MPP. Whatever they say is final to me. Nothing that the opposition will say will convince me. That is idiosyncrasy. It means you are not facing the facts. You are facing your feelings, your subjective feelings. And so for a substantive dispute, identify the facts, analyze the facts, and determine the one that has the most potent, the most convincing facts. And then you make a conclusion.
He's on the bench as well.
Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
So always, if it is about facts, A is providing different facts for a particular contention. B is providing different facts for a particular contention. Which one do you take? You analyze the facts and come to the conclusion that the facts of A are more appealing to the mind than the facts of B. And therefore, A, B is a winner in this particular case, or B is the more, contains the facts that must be supported. And we find this in our social life. Your brother, your sister is fighting with someone over something, or having a dispute with someone over something. Because it is your brother or your sister, you don't care about the facts. You jump into the dispute in support of your brother or your sister. Ideally, what do you have to do? What in the context of how you should deal with substantive dispute? Look at the facts. When you analyze the facts, is your brother or sister right? If the brother or sister is not right, just say, yes, despite the fact that you are my brother or sister, you are not right in this situation. This person is right. I don't support you for doing this, and I will never support you. That's how you deal with substantive. Being objective in assessing the facts and coming to a certain conclusion. And then we have polemic dispute. What is a polemic dispute? This is a dispute about your idiosyncrasies, about your biases, your likes and dislikes. We are different people. We have different ways of looking at things. Different things we like and different things we do not like. Our feelings, our likes and dislikes can never be the same. We are unique in our own ways. Collins is unique in his own way. Gilbert is unique in his own way. John Eden is unique in his own way. Each individual is unique in his or her own way. Therefore, what each individual may like or dislike may not necessarily be the same across board for all of us. And so when a dispute arises between two or more people as a result of our feelings, our likes and dislikes, you cannot resolve it logically. You cannot. It is only when you resort to feelings, say, well, that's your feeling and all that, but you cannot resolve it logically. So you see a lady, you like her, she is beautiful to you in your eyes, because I'm sure you can get along with the adage that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, not in everybody's eyes. So you see this person, to you, she's very pretty inside out, pretty on the inside, pretty on the outside. You like her. Then your friend sees the same lady, so no, or you tell your friend that, oh, this lady, I like her, she's beautiful, I want her. And this, your friend will say, oh, no, this one, she's not beautiful, she's like this, she's like that, she's not well behaved and all that. Fine. You know your feelings. You know that this is good for me. Your friend also knows his feelings and knows that this is not good for him, and therefore is advising you that it should not be good for you. You are not bound by anything to accept the position of your friend, because the position of your friend is based on his feelings, not based on your feelings. It is up to you to decide whether you go with your feelings or you go along with the feelings of your friend and therefore accept his advice. I'm sure some of you are in a relationship or you are married. And I'm sure one or two of you may have experienced something of this sort, that you have gone to introduce your partner to your parents and you intend to marry your partner. If you have gotten to this level, it means that you have seen your partner and you think that he or she meets your feelings. But your parents will tell you, no, this guy, where is he from? He's from this place. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 he's not good for you. He cannot be good for you. Your parents are making their contention based on their feelings, based on their biases for and against something. Of course, they are your parents, but you're not bound to take that decision. You have to make your decision. Do I have to follow my feelings and disobey my parents? If you are the one that will strongly go for your feelings, you go for it. And your parents cannot do anything about it. So that is a polemic dispute. There's no logical conclusion. The logical conclusion is based on the individual involved in the situation, not based on a universal standard. Are we fine?
Sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are you okay? Any question on the three we have discussed so far? So somebody should tell me his experience in respect to polemic dispute. I know one or two may have something here, or even factual. All right, if you have no contribution to make, so you see the way I said questions. Look at question 3. Now, a coffee made the following, it should be the following discussion or dispute. Now, I like Danielle. She's pretty and intelligent. I wish she's my girlfriend. Kofi, I don't think Danielle is pretty and intelligent. She's unattractive to me, and I think she cannot be your girlfriend. So I ask you, what type of dispute should be, what type of dispute is it? And to what extent is it logically analyzable?
Sir, please,
So
since your voice is low.
Is it?
Please, your voice is low.
My voice.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So what type of dispute is it? And to what extent is it logically analyzable? I say, hey, it's a substantive dispute because Kofi and Yao provided different facts to support their assertions, which can be subjected to logical analysis to draw a conclusion. D, it is a verbal dispute between Kofi and Yao arising from the key word pretty, which they use differently in their submissions. Hence, the argument cannot be logically analyzed by defining the word, the key word. C, it is a dispute arising from ambiguity of the statements made by Yao and Kofi. Hence, the argument can be subjected to logical analysis. And D, it is a polemic dispute arising from the differences in the subjective inclinations between Yao and Kofi. Hence, the argument is not logically analyzable. So you see that the answer is D. It is a polemic dispute. And for polemic disputes, you cannot subject it to logical analysis. It is true for each of the parties. Then we move on to equivocation. Now, for the first three we have talked about, you will have about 2 or more people engage in a dispute, at least 2 engage in a dispute. But the subsequent ones we are looking at, it is not 2 people engage in a dispute. It is one person providing a text or writing or saying something, but using one word interchangeably. So we have equivocation. Equivocation is not a dispute to the one engaged in the writer or in the conversation, but it is a dispute arising in the mind of the one reading it. A disagreement, a misunderstanding of the meaning of the word. An equivocation arises when a writer shifts from one meaning of a word to a different meaning of the same word in the same write-up. When you are writing, they will tell you, do not use one word, noun, verb, in the same sentence twice. If you learn to write well, don't use one word, noun, verb, in the same sentence, especially verb. You forget about the noun. At least a verb. Do not use it. Not auxiliary verb. Do not use it twice in the same sentence. Maybe I am going to go. That is not good. Now, when you write, once you use a word, and you want to use a word, that same word, instead of using that same word in the same sentence on the same text, change it to a different word. Otherwise, if you use that same word, especially in one sentence, it creates an equivocation. More especially if that word, the first usage of that word, the meaning is different from the second usage of it. It means you keep shifting from one meaning of a word to another meaning of the same word in your text or sentence. It creates an equivocation. So if I say, if you use fire to fire the matchstick, that is an equivocation. The first meaning of the word fire is different from the second meaning of the word fire. And then you come to the market. Eventually, it may affect us since people will be scared away from the market. Hence, it will make it difficult for us to market our goods. Equivocation. The first meaning of the word market is different from the second meaning of the word market. And this is used in the same sentence. So how do you resolve an equivocation? You resolve it by replacing the second usage of the word with a synonym. So identify the word, look at it in the context it is used, and come to the conclusion that the first meaning of the word is different from the second meaning of the word. When you have come to this conclusion, then you resolve it by replacing this one of them with a synonym. Replace one of them with a synonym. You can replace the first one with a synonym or replace the second one with a synonym. So I can resolve this by saying if you use fire to trigger the musket. Instead of fire to fire, trigger the musket. It will scare people, the people. Eventually, it may affect us since people will be scared away from the market. Hence, it will make it difficult for us to sell our goods. I have resolved the equivocation by replacing the words, the second usage of the word with a synonym, or the words with a synonym. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Now, under definitions that we did last 2 weeks, we talked about ambiguity. When you say a sentence is ambiguous, what it means is that it lends itself to multiple meanings. There's no one definite meaning to it. The way the sentence is written, it can mean many things. So when you write, be careful about the meaning. If it can give you 2 or more meanings, the same sentence can give you 2 or more meanings, then it is ambiguous. And for ambiguity, you resolve it by reconstructing, rewriting the sentence well to remove the ambiguous element in it, so that whoever is looking at it, everyone looking at the sentence will have the same meaning. Now, let me put this word sentence here and see. I like the word coherent. So, can somebody tell me the meaning of this sentence? The lost cat was found by the tree. Can we have one meaning to this sentence? Can we have one meaning?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? So what does it, Solomon, what does it mean to you?
So it means to me that the car that was lost was found by the tree.
So the tree found it. The tree found the lost cat.
No, sir.
No, sir. Is it the tree that found the lost cat? You see, when you look at it, sir. But what, Solomon, what do you mean? How do you mean? You say it was found by the tree.
I mean, beside the tree.
But I can also say that the lost cat was found by a particular entity called tree.
Yes, sir.
Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
So even though it is grammatically correct, it is ambiguous that the entity, the body, the object that found the lost cat was called a tree. It could also mean too, the lost cat was found at a place close to a tree.
Okay.
So we can get 2 meanings from this, and that is ambiguous. right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any question? Joy saw the pregnant lady deliver on TV. It's correct grammatically, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And it is ambiguous. So here, the process of seeing the pregnant lady deliver, was it on a TV? So the first meaning is that the process of seeing Joyce, the process of Joyce seeing the pregnant lady deliver was on a TV. So the scene of the action was on a TV. The second meaning could be that the pregnant lady delivered on a TV and Joyce saw it. So maybe the TV was lying down and it delivered on that TV, not on the screen of the TV that can be seen visibly when it is telecast. The first meaning is that Joyce saw on the screen of the TV that this lady was delivering. The second meaning could be that the pregnant lady lied on a surface, on a particular surface, and that surface was a TV, like maybe lying on a mat to deliver, lying on the TV, and in the process, delivered. Or you don't get the meaning.
You get it, sir.
So once you are getting two multiple meanings from the same sentence, it is ambiguous. You need to reconstruct your sentence again. Joyce watched Kofi throw stones through the window. Who can tell me the meaning of this sentence? How do you understand this sentence? Joyce watched Kofi throw stones through the window. So the one meaning is that Joyce was watching, or Joyce saw the process of Kofi throwing stones through the window. The second meaning is that the word and the way that it is used, watch. Joyce supervised Kofi as he threw stones through the window. So one meaning is that Joyce saw the process of Kofi throwing stones through the window. The second meaning could be that Joyce actually supervised Kofi to throw stones through the window. So that is ambiguous. So in all these instances, you need to rewrite the sentence so that you remove the ambiguity. Are we fine? So that's all that you need to know about ambiguity. Are we fine?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And then we have vagueness. For vagueness, what it means is that a particular word or phrase does not give you a definite or exact meaning. It's not the entire sentence that has multiple meanings, but there's one word that is not giving you the exact meaning, the exact number, the exact figure we're talking about. So if I say, I will leave the, yes?
Yeah, I'm okay, sir.
I will leave the class soon. Grammatically, the sentence is 100% correct, but the sentence is vague. Why is it vague? There's one word in the sentence that is not giving us the definite time I will leave the class. I will leave the class soon. The word soon is the source of the vagueness, because how do you quantify, how do you know the number of minutes that constitutes soon? 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 1 full day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, soon. It does not give us the exact time I will leave. So the word soon makes the sentence vague. So here we say Kofi has some food. Some. What some? What is the quantity of the sum? Is it, how do you, quantify it? If I say there are many students in my class, the word that makes it vague is many. What number of people constitutes many? To me, it can be 10 people. To others, it can be 100 people. Many. I've not given the exact number I'm talking about. So grammatically, it is correct, but somebody who wants to put you on, and we are doing this because you may get into an agreement with somebody tomorrow. Maybe you have a written contract, a written agreement, and these words are there. Forget it. If the person is smart, the person can, swindle you or swindle you. If I say that one will make the profit, I'll give you a substantial part of it. I'll give you a substantial part of it. And then you sign the agreement. Maybe we'll make 1 million Ghana cedis. And then I give you, let's say, 50,000 or 100,000. And then you come to complain that, no, it's not substantial. We have made 1 million Ghana cedis. I expect to get about 500,000, 200, 300,000, 400,000 more, or even 600,000. It says substantial part. And the person will tell you, to him, this is what constitutes substantial. So if you don't define in the agreement what substantial means, and then you sign, you are signing your death warrant. That's why in agreements, certain technical words or words that are vague, they define them for you. And that is what? Stipulative definition. They define them for you. That in this agreement, substantial means this. So if I tell you, oh yeah, I owe you, and I'll tell you, oh, don't worry, I'll pay you tomorrow. And then you agree. Tomorrow comes, and then so today after today, the day after today is tomorrow. So tomorrow comes, or the day after today comes, and then you come to me. You say you pay me tomorrow, give me my money. Then I repeat myself. I said, I will pay you tomorrow. But you said it yesterday that you pay me tomorrow. So we are in that tomorrow. And I'll tell you, no, we are in today. It is no more tomorrow. We are into today. Tomorrow is the day after today. Tomorrow is not specific because tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is today plus one. So when the person says, I will pay you tomorrow, then if you are very smart, you ask, how do you mean by tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow, today is what? This. So tomorrow is this date. All right, I'll pay you. So you are now taking his word based on the specific date that he has provided. Are we fine?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any contribution?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I add something too?
Yes, go on.
Yes, I'm operating a business and I put this inscription for credit, come tomorrow. Then a customer came a day and I showed him the inscription. But the next day he came and he wanted it on credit. And I said, so the thing is, but he said, and he was challenging me that he has come. And I said, no, that is
the previous day.
Yes, that's what. So I think I'm getting what you are trying to explain.
Yes.
So
yes,
I think it's an example for credit come tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow never comes.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good. That's fine. I'm happy you understand. Tomorrow never comes. So when you are into a business, somebody tells you, oh, I'll pay you tomorrow. Please let the person define tomorrow for you. Assign a date to it. And then you are okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, but I think it is agreed that yesterday's tomorrow is today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
yesterday's tomorrow is today. Don't assume that it is agreed. Don't assume. When you go to court, it is not assumption. It is the fact that you deal with.
Okay,
To you,
sir.
to you, yesterday's tomorrow is today.
It's today.
That is to you. So you just assume that is it. But ask yourself, is that what the person means? The person wants to, be smart.
Okay.
So just like how Richmond said, for credit come tomorrow. The person came today and he pointed to the inscription, for credit come tomorrow. The following day, the person came. That, oh, you told me for the credit come tomorrow. I have come. I was there the previous day. I've come today. But we are in today. We are not in tomorrow. And then he still pointed at it. For credit come tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Don't assume that when you come and say for credit come tomorrow, then you come the following day. Then it becomes, that's yesterday's tomorrow. But we are in today. The transaction is to be done in tomorrow. The day you came is today. So if you come the following day, that tomorrow becomes today. I guess my explanation is fine.
Yes, sir.
Sir, please, I want to add something.
Okay.
So you said, for instance, when you go to the court, we talk about facts and not assumptions. And there's something that we call judicial notice. There are things that exist that do not need to be proven.
Okay.
For example, we know everyone, if someone is Kwesi, definitely the person is born on Sunday. You need nothing to prove that And we all know if we are today being today, the next day after today is tomorrow.
Yes.
So if I come to you today and you tell me to come tomorrow, basically we know the day after today is tomorrow.
Yes.
So in this case, the person comes there, you tell the person credit tomorrow, he comes tomorrow. He's right because the day that we know after today is tomorrow, and there is nothing that we do to prove that.
To you, he is right. But to the person, you don't know the meaning ascribed to it. There are differences in the meaning. So you take it that it is established that the day, if I come today and say for credit, come tomorrow, then I enter into that day and that day becomes the tomorrow. If I do not define what tomorrow is, you are using the established tradition. If the established tradition, oh yes, when you were there yesterday, you said come tomorrow. So the following day you went, that becomes tomorrow. If I say, if you define it this way, and he is also defining it in a different way, that becomes a problem. That becomes a dispute. Yes, we can say some of Kofi mean somebody born on a Sunday. Somebody born on a Friday. But is it always the case that anyone born on a Friday is called Kofi? You can have situations where people are called Kofi, but they are not born on a what? On a Friday. Take the case of Kwame Nkrumah. He was not born on a Saturday, but he's called Kwame. When you check the date against the days, it doesn't fall on a Saturday. But he's called Kwame. So that established tradition may lead you somewhere, but will have a barricade. And so you need to go into the specific meanings. I guess I've been able to answer you correctly. Or you still have some doubts?
Okay, sir, it's fine.
Or we can go on. We are all learning.
This is critical thinking.
Yeah, I always want us to not start something based on assumptions. And for critical thinking, it will require you to look at the issues. If it is proven beyond all doubt, fine. If it cannot be proven beyond all doubt, that is why you go into what? Assumptions. So you don't start something based on assumptions. I'm sure if you are sick, you are not a medical doctor. You don't just start by assuming. It's just some people will start assuming that, hey, I'm being bewitched by this person or by somebody in the family. That's the cause of me getting sick and all that. So you start with this assumption. It's not proven.
Okay. Sir, please can I add a little contribution?
On.
Yes. Looks as if my colleague is still having a little difficulty, but I just want to say that what I said earlier. Okay, assuming today is Saturday, you ask the person to come tomorrow. It means that the person is coming tomorrow, Sunday. Now, yes. Sunday, when the person comes, now you can put a question like, but I asked you to come, but the person can say that, but you asked me to come today. The person will not even use tomorrow. He is going to use, but you asked me to come today. Then exactly. The person who directed him to come tomorrow, the other day, will tell you, yes, but I told you to come tomorrow. But you, the one who came, will still use, but you asked me to come today. So you see, so now that today is not tomorrow. I don't know whether my colleague is getting the point.
Yeah, that's how it is.
That's what you said. Yeah. So that today.
That's how it is. Well, you get into
so
tomorrow.
You never get into tomorrow.
That day, that tomorrow becomes today.
Yes.
So your reference to it will be today.
Yes.
Not tomorrow. But if you put it in a context that is understood, today is Saturday. Come the following day to Sunday. That makes it specific. Because the day after today, Saturday, is Sunday. All right, we can continue to debate it. Fallacies. When we make arguments, there are sometimes mistakes in the argument, errors in the argument. Any argument that has an error or errors means it has a fallacy or fallacies. Now, we are going to look at informal fallacies. Informal fallacies are fallacies we commit when we make arguments based on experiences, based on our everyday lifestyle. When we are making an argument based on our experiences, and then we commit an error in the argument, it is called an informal fallacy. Maybe next week when we come, we'll look at formal fallacies. Those ones are specific based on the structure of the argument. So if I say 2 plus 2, we must get 4. That makes it valid. If I have 2 plus 2 based on the arithmetic and I get 5, it is a fallacy. And that is formal fallacy. That if it is proven that the first figure is 2, the second figure is 2, when we add them, we must get 4. Any other number you get, when you were in the primary school or less than that, any other answer you get will be marked wrong. That is a formal fallacy. But the informal one, you are engaged in a discussion with somebody and you make an argument. So for example, I can say, oh, Equia is a fancy. I dated her, she likes money. Oh, this girl also likes money. She's a car. This girl also likes money. She's an Asante. They say, oh, all girls like money. That's a fallacy. You have jumped to a conclusion based on the evidence you have. So I will now move on to the types of fallacies. I don't need the significance of fallacies and all that. So I'll move on to the types. We may not be able to finish it today, but next week when we come for the face-to-face, I'll skip it and take the symbolic logic, because that one, if it is done in the class, you understand it than when it is done online. So fallacies of relevance. Now here, the evidence you have is not relevant to the conclusion. Where you draw a conclusion and your conclusion is not based on the relevance of the facts. It's completely different from the relevance of the facts. That is a fallacy of relevance. And we have different types under the fallacies of relevance. So we have fallacy of appeal to the populace. When the facts are there, you don't look at the facts, but you're looking at the number of people that are supporting a particular position or fact. And then you conclude. You usually say the majority carry the vote. That is a fallacy of appeal to the populace. You are not looking at the facts about the vote. You are looking at the number of people who are voting for it. The fact that NDC won overwhelmingly may not necessarily be that it is the most popular party. In some instances, even the majority can be wrong and the minority can be right. So anytime you make an argument and then you shift away from the relevance, or you don't engage the facts, you shift away from the relevance of the facts, and then you try to justify it by saying, after all, a majority voted for it, so that is the right thing. Or a majority voted against it, that is not the right thing. You are committing a fallacy of appeal to the populace. Are you fine with this explanation?
Yes, sir.
So you see, most Ghanaians think anti-gay laws should be legislated in Ghana. It is obvious that anti-gay laws are good for Ghana. So the majority say they don't want LGBTQ plus, I plus. And so when you have a law against it, then you say it is good. The fact that a majority of people say this does not necessarily mean that it is good. So you, instead of making your conclusion based on the majority, subject the evidence to analysis and see for yourself. Then the fallacy of the straw man. You know a straw. You can use a straw to sip drinks and all that. A straw is very weak. The fallacy of the straw man is committed when a person analyzes an argument by shifting away from the relevant facts of the argument to focus on something small, tiny, weak about the argument to draw a conclusion. Sometimes people will look at your facts very strong, and then they're only looking for a small weak part to focus on to draw a conclusion. When they leave the main part of it and focus on something tiny, which is perhaps weak, to focus on it, then commit a fallacy of the straw man. So you have Kofi Richmond, who is a philanthropist. He's been going to, how do you call it, orphanages to donate money and other gifts. He's popular in orphanages. And in one instance, he went to a particular orphanage to donate money items to the orphans. And when the orphans saw him enter into the orphanage, they rushed out to meet him. And in the process, maybe one or two of them got injured. Somebody reporting on this, oh, Kofi didn't do well because his action led to the injury of these young orphans. The person has moved away from the main thing that is the focus of Kofi to something minor, which is unintentional. Instead of focusing on what Kofi has gone to donate, the kind of things and all that, he's focusing on the minor thing. And politicians like this a lot. Maybe I am speaking, I'm making a presentation, or the president is making I don't know, whether you've heard about this, about President, the ex-president, Atta Mills.
Oh, Mr. Mills.
Hello? When Atta Mills went to Parliament to make a presentation on the economy and then he was pronouncing economy, whatever, and people focus on that. The opposition focus on that instead of the germane things that he presented. The whole thing was economy, whatever, and all that. That is a fallacy of the straw man. The presentation is not about economy and all that. The presentation provided certain key things about the economy by his government. So if you try to rubbish the presentation by not looking at the relevance of the facts that have been presented, and rather focus on how he found it difficult to pronounce economy, that is a fallacy of the straw man. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Then the red herring is a little bit close to the straw man. The red herring is a deliberate other distortion, diversion from the relevance of the issue. For the straw man, it is something tiny which is weak in the whole text. But for a red herring, it is not there at all. There's nothing there that you are focusing on. You rather divert attention from the issue that is being discussed. So that Collins is maybe has a girlfriend or wife. Collins went out. The wife knows that he likes ladies. So the Collins comes. The wife is talking about, oh, I can smell something of a lady's perfume around you. I guess you've gone to see a lady. And then Collins will divert attention from that topic completely. Oh, I even saw your brother. I saw your sister. There were many people around. The topic is not you seeing other people. The topic is about you gone out to see a lady and probably you have cheated. So if we divert attention from the topic and focus on something which is not relevant to the topic, then you have committed a fallacy of red herring. Politicians like this too. When you ask them something about a particular topic, they will not focus on that topic. They'll move away from that topic and talk about something else. Sometimes it is good. We call it evasion. You evade the whole topic or the question and move on to talk about something else. It's a fallacy of the red herring. You also committed unintentionally in the exam. They ask you a question. You deviate. The topic is not about what you have provided. You provide an answer which has nothing to do with the question. So it's more like a deviation. I remember somebody, those days, agric practicals, there was this, you have to go and identify, they put some objects there, you identify them, and then you answer the questions about those objects, called the specimens. And so this guy went to the exam hall and saw a feather of a bird, identified what specimen is this. Maybe what is specimen A? Specimen A is a feather of a bird. What are the functions of specimen A? It will not ask you what are the functions of a feather. What are the functions of specimen A? And then he said, specimen A enables a bird to fly and perches. It flies and perches on a tree. And he had focused on the parts of a tree. He has more or less chew and pull the parts of a tree. So it flies and flies and perches on a tree. One may ask, what are the parts of a tree? And then the whole answer or the whole essay is about the parts of a tree. That's a red herring. He has moved away from the relevant thing that is being focused on to something which is irrelevant to the topic. Fallacy of appeal to emotions. Here again, the relevant facts are discarded in favor of emotions, in favor of our feelings. You step on my feet, and I ask you, why did you step on my feet? I expect the ideal situation, oh, it is unintentional, I didn't see. But in most instances, when somebody asks, why did you step on my feet? You will not provide the answer which I have provided. You say, oh, sorry. Sorry, it's a mistake. When you just say sorry, you are appealing to the emotions of the person, not focusing on what the person wants as an answer from you. And there are many types of that appeal to emotions. You can have, under the appeal to emotions, the first one is appeal to pity, which I've just explained. The person, more or less, when you say I'm sorry, the person should have pity on you, or should have mercy on you. The appeal to emotions you can also have appeal to hatred. So Kofi Richmond hates Collins, and Kofi Richmond is a friend to Solomon. You know, Kofi Richmond will tell Solomon, look, Collins is my enemy. I don't want to have anything with you. And you as my friend, don't have anything to do with Collins. So Richmond will advise Solomon not to have anything to do with Collins. Appeal to hatred. The fact that Kofi Richmond Collins is an enemy to Kofi Richmond does not necessarily mean that anyone who is a friend to Kofi Richmond must necessarily become an enemy to Collins. Or must not mean that anyone who is a friend to Collins is necessarily an enemy to Kofi Richmond. That is appeal to hatred. So appeal to emotions have to do with a conclusion about something, not based on the facts, the relevance of the facts, but based on emotions that you use as a basis to make a conclusion. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appeal to force. Appeal to force when you make a conclusion about something, not based on the relevance of the facts, but based on intimidation, based on the usage of fear, threat. That if you don't give me all that I want, I will fail you. I'm not looking at the facts. So you see what I've put here. It happens in the secondary school. Teacher has an argument with a student. You have to come on Saturday to wash my clothing and cook for me. The lady student said, I cannot come because the school has stipulated that no lady student should visit a male teacher in his private home. It is not allowed. Teacher, you have to come or else you will fail. You know what that means. Lady student, I will sneak into your house to help you so that you don't fail me. Teacher, good, it is a deal. This appeal to what? Force. The teacher has discarded the relevance of the facts and struck fear in the student to be able to get a certain conclusion. the teacher was not focusing on the school having stipulated that female students should not visit a male teacher. He's focusing on how to use threat as a means to get the student to come. When something happens this way, or when an argument is constructed this way, it is an appeal to force. You may have, Richmond has a wife, and maybe Richmond is engaged in an argument with the wife. The wife is talking blah, 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 and all that. Then Richmond will say, hey, if you don't stop nonsense you are saying, I will beat you, I'll slap you. Then the wife doesn't want to be slapped. The wife will stop. Meanwhile, the things the wife, Richmond is not looking at the relevant things the wife is saying. Is using threat as a means to get a certain conclusion. Right? Are we fine?
Yes. Sir.
Now, missing the point is when somebody completely goes off the tangent because you don't understand the issues. Missing the point. When you completely go off the tangent because you don't understand the issues that are involved, you miss the point. There was this clip I watched. A certain guy asked somebody from the village, and I said, have you seen pizza? I said, oh, no. I said something like, do you know pizza? I said, oh, yeah, I saw him in the bank yesterday. And then he said, what of shawarma? Oh, it's been a long time I saw shawarma. So he's missing the point here. He doesn't know. She doesn't know anything about pizza, anything about shawarma. And so he misses the point completely. And then the last one, I think under relevance, fallacy of attack on a person. The Latin term is ad hominem. We have two types of attack on a person. For attack on a person, you can use the character of somebody instead of focusing on the relevant facts that are in dispute. You focus on the character of the person to draw a conclusion. The facts, the relevance of the facts in question are discarded, and then focus on the character of the person in the dispute to be able to draw a conclusion. So somebody tells you, maybe Solomon tells you, oh, it's going to rain today. And because the clouds are about forming. And then somebody says, you go and tell somebody it will rain today. You will tell Kofi Richmond, it will rain today. Let's look at this scenario. Solomon tells Collins, it will rain today. The clouds are about forming. And then Collins goes to tell Richmond, oh, it will rain today. And Richmond asks Kofi, Collins, how? Are you sure? He said, no, it's going to rain today. Who told you? Where did he get the information? Solomon told me that it will rain today. Then Kofi Richmond will say, why do you have to listen to to Solomon? This drunkard. What else can he say that is relevant? That can be true. He's a drunkard, so he's seeing because he's drunk, he's seeing the clouds as though they have formed. Meanwhile, they have not formed. So instead of focusing, the issue is it is going to rain today. Then you say, well, it's not going to rain today because I don't see any clouds forming, or it is not coming from the meteorological department. But if you rather attack the character of the person who said it as a basis to draw a conclusion, you are committing a fallacy. That part of the fallacy is called ad hominem. Attacking a person as a basis to draw a conclusion. You can also have, it's called dyslogistic ad hominem, but the general Latin term is ad hominem, whether you attack negatively or positively. But in some instances, the ad hominem is divided into two. When you attack negatively, it is called dyslogistic ad hominem, but the technical term is ad hominem. When you attack positively to draw a conclusion, it is eulogistic ad hominem. So you have a pastor, and the pastor has been accused of rape. And people, oh, no. It cannot be true. He's a man of God. He's always nice. I mean, it means you are what? Praising the person, using the outward character of the person as a basis to make a conclusion. That one is eulogistic ad hominem. And it happens in everyday life or in most instances. Ad hominem in particular, it happens a lot. Are we fine? Any question? Any question on these fallacies we have discussed under fallacies of relevance? We are going to another set of fallacies. All right, so we move on to the other set of fallacies, fallacies of presumption. Presumption means assumption. Here, the facts are not even tiny facts are there, but you make an assumption of the facts or the conclusion. It is either you assume the facts and then you draw a conclusion, or you make an assumption of the conclusion. Fallacies of presumption. One of the fallacies of presumption is fallacy of begging the question. For each fallacy, I have provided the Latin word. When you, in the law, they use the Latin words more than the English equivalent. Now, this fallacy is committed when you don't provide adequate information about something, but rather use the same thing for itself. So you are looking at something that you are supposed to provide adequate information about it to be able to draw a conclusion. That thing you are looking at, you are using the same thing as evidence to be able to draw a conclusion. So maybe I am explaining the figure 1, begging the question. For example, I would say 1 is the figure 1 in arithmetics. I say, what 1? I am trying to provide information about 1. And I say 1 is the figure 1 in arithmetics. That's begging the question. So when you have 1 and it is 1, then your conclusion is 1. So you go in a secular way, using the same thing as information for itself. So look at the example here. Maxwell is making a point. We know that mass creates gravity because more dense planets have more gravity. We're talking about mass creates gravity. And then I'm going to say more dense planets have more gravity. You have not provided any information. It's the same gravity that you are using. Then Mesa asks, how do you know No, which planets have more gravity? Maxwell, I know because they have more gravity. Begging the question. You are, I mean, the question that is begging for an answer is an explanation of it, but not to use the same word to explain itself. We've talked about complex questions. There are certain questions that are complex. No matter how you answer them, you commit yourself. It is not that you do not know how to answer the question. It is that whichever way you answer it, you commit yourself. It is, if a question is asked in a certain way that whichever way you answer, you commit yourself, it is a fallacy of complex question. The assumption is that the person is asking the question because he knows that it will, bait you. It will put you in a certain corner that will force you, or when you answer it, it puts you in a certain perspective, in a certain corner. Fallacy of complex question. Have you stopped stealing? And then you say, yes, I have stopped stealing. The implication is that you have admitted that you used to steal. Now you have stopped. Have you stopped stealing? No, I have not stopped stealing. Or just say no. The implication is that you have admitted you are a thief and you continue to be a thief, or you are still a thief. So when you ask a question in a certain way, that when somebody answers it yes or no, he's committed to something. That question is a fallacy of complex question. You can only resolve it by rewording the question. And then fallacy of false dichotomy. When you present a situation as if there are only two options to the situation, no any other option, and that when you are presented with two options, you are obliged to pick one. It is a fallacy of false dichotomy. In life, it is not always the case that there are two options to a particular situation that we have to choose. And it is not always the case that, granted that there are two options, we have to choose one. So Jane is a pretty lady. She must accept to be my girlfriend or my enemy. Simple. That's a fallacy of false dichotomy. You presented Jane with two options: to be your girlfriend or be your enemy. She must choose one. But in life, it is not always like this. Jane can decide to be your girlfriend and be even the worst enemy. Jane can decide not to be your girlfriend and may not be an enemy. But when you present a situation like this, you commit a fallacy of false dichotomy. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Fallacy of accident. If you have a question, please just raise your hand, or if you want to make a contribution, just put up your hand. Because these fallacies, you commit them sometimes on a daily basis. Fallacy of accident. When you argue that there is no exception, an exception to a principle, to a law, to a general rule, you commit the fallacy of accident. You assume that principles are principles, laws are laws, rules are rules. There cannot be an exception to them. That is a fallacy of accident. Thou shalt not lie. How many of you lied today? This is a general rule. So most of you are Christians. thou shalt not lie. Ask yourself, this rule, do I always live by this rule? Are there no exceptions to this rule? Those exceptions are situations that you have decided to lie in order to get your way through something. So somebody comes, armed robbers come to your house. They have gotten information that there's money in your house. And then you know that if you lie in this particular situation, it will save you. Will you lie or you'll not lie? Or let's say that an assailant is chasing Kofi Richmond and chases Kofi Richmond to our classroom or to your house. And the assailant pursued Kofi Richmond to your house with a machete. And you want to save Kofi Richmond's life. You tell the assailant, oh, Kofi Richmond ran into the house and went through the back door. So the assailant goes away to the back door to try to see where Kofi Richmond is because you want to save his life. You have lied to the assailant. But the general rule is that thou shalt not lie. In this case, is your lying good or bad? Or because they said, thou shalt not lie. So the assailant comes and says, oh, Kofi Richmond is here. And then he kills Kofi Richmond. So there are circumstances or exceptions to a general rule. But anytime you argue that there cannot be exceptions to a general rule, general rules are general rules. They must be strictly adhered to, irrespective of the situation, irrespective of the circumstance. Then you commit a fallacy of accident. What is fallacy? When you make an assumption of something that does not exist in real life or cannot be seen in real life, on the basis of it, you make a conclusion about reality. It is not there in real life. Then you draw a conclusion. So you don't have money to buy a car. You are wishing that you will buy a car one day. And then you say, oh, my car is a nice one. I am going to do it this way. It will always be like this. From assumption to reality. When you think that, oh, angels exist, there are this and this, I have my archangel protecting me, blah, blah. I am confident that my angel is right here. That is what is fallacy. Your conclusion is a reality. Your facts are assumptions. And then when you turn it, you have is-ought fallacy. Your facts are reality. Then you assume that this should be the case as your conclusion. So it's a reality that some married men cheat on their husbands, sorry, on their wives. That's a reality. They cheat on their wives. Then you conclude that there ought to be a law legislating against cheating in marital life. That is an is-ought fallacy. The fact that the evidence is there does not necessarily mean that the conclusion should be the case. So for presumption, the evidence may not necessarily be there. And then you draw a conclusion. You make an assumption. Either make an assumption of the evidence and then you draw a conclusion. Or you make an assumption of the conclusion. But fallacies of defective induction or fallacies of weak induction, the evidence is actually there, but the evidence is weak or defective. It is not enough to serve as a basis for you to draw a conclusion or to serve as a basis for the conclusion that you have drawn. The evidence is too weak to support the conclusion. We have different types of that. The first is fallacy of hasty generalization. Small evidence, piece of evidence, on the basis of it, you draw a conclusion. So we have what stereotype do you have about people? What stereotype do you have about Fantis? What stereotype do you have about Santis? What stereotype do you have about Gans, about Nordness? So you see, I mean, one clear stereotype Ghanaians have about the Achim is that they are litigants. That's fallacy of hasty generalization. So we have met one Achim, maybe he's a litigant. It's a fact that this Achim man or Achim woman is a litigant. It is a fact. This Achim woman, we have seen about 3, 4, experienced 3, 4, 5, 10 Achim people, they are litigants. And then you draw a general conclusion that all Achims are litigants. Fallacy of hasty generalization. So if you ask yourself, the sample, the evidence is your sample size. Is the sample size enough to warrant the conclusion? So if 3 people have been caught lately as thieves, then it means that all the inhabitants in this community are thieves. After all, 1 granite spoils all granites. But sometimes, in fact, they say 1 granite spoils the whole soup. Yes, there's clear evidence that 3 people have been caught in the community as thieves. But it is too small for you to jump to the conclusion that everyone in the community is a thief. Fallacy of hasty generalization. The ladies will say, oh, all men are the same. All men are womanizers. Yes, you have met one man, he's a womanizer. You've met another man, he's a womanizer. Perhaps all the 5 guys you have dated, they are womanizers. And then you jump to the conclusion that all men are womanizers. The same applies to men. All ladies like money. Because your girlfriend or your 5 girlfriends you've dated before, your exes, they like money. And so you jump to the conclusion that all ladies like money. Collins, is it not true of you?
Yes, sir.
Then we have fallacy. Oh, you have to be able to finish the fallacy. Fallacy of appeal to ignorance. When you make an argument that a particular situation is the case because there's no fact to prove it. Or it is not the case because there's no fact to prove it, then you commit a fallacy of appeal to ignorance. And it can happen in law. You have been accused of stealing. Now, if you can't prove yourself to provide evidence to prove that you are not guilty, then it is presumed you are guilty. The conclusion is that you are guilty. The fact that I cannot provide evidence to prove that I am not guilty does not necessarily mean that I am guilty. But when we proceed on the basis that because you cannot provide evidence to prove that you are not guilty, therefore you are guilty, we are committing a fallacy of appeal to ignorance. The fact that we are ignorant about the evidence does not mean it is the case. We do this all the time. One cliche we make all the time is that the devil you know is better than the angel you do not know. That is a fallacy of appeal to ignorance. The fact that we know the devil and the fact that we don't have evidence about the angel does not mean that the devil you know is better than the angel you know. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
So I have given you the opportunity to prove your innocence. Since you have not been able to prove your innocence, I must assume that, or I must conclude that you are guilty. Sometimes you can't get the evidence to prove yourself that you are not guilty. Even if whatever you say, well, it is not reasonable enough since you are guilty. No. Fallacy of appeal to authority, or some people call appeal to inappropriate or unqualified authority. But the short term is fallacy of appeal to authority. When you use a particular authority, it could be a person, anything, as a basis to draw a conclusion, but that person is not the right authority in that particular instance, then you are committing a fallacy of appeal to authority. Even if that person is the authority in that instance, you ask yourself, is what the authority is saying, is it the truth? Is it the reality? If it is not the reality, but you are still basing your argument on what the authority said, you commit a fallacy of appeal to authority. I remember when I was young, my sister had a first menses. And then my mother told her, if you have sex with a man, you'll be pregnant. And then my sister held on to this as a gospel truth and went on to discuss that with her colleagues. And apparently her colleagues haven't had their first menses. They had experienced life and knew that that statement by their parents is not true. So she told her colleagues, hey, if you have your first menses and you have sex with a man, you'll be pregnant too. And then the colleague said, no, it is not true. It can never be true. And she said, she held on to it. It is true because it is what my mother told me, and my mother cannot lie. It is true. Appealing to an authority in a wrong context. I don't know whether you have seen this clip about this Nigerian lady, small, tiny person that looks like a Lilliput. What's her name? Ebube or something of that sort. And there was a clip which provided a context of the fallacy of appeal to an authority. She asked, I think there were 4 sitting down eating oranges or so. And then she asked, who is a virgin? And said a virgin is a lady no man has touched. Based on what an authority told her. Then she concluded, thank God I am no more a virgin. I said, plenty men touch me. Who and all that. I mean, the story goes on. The point is that that little girl made a conclusion based on what an authority has told her. There's this one I watched just recently. Sometimes I watch clips a lot. The mother advised the daughter that she should never let a man see her panties. So she went to a guy's residence, and the guy asked her to lie down. So she quickly went to the bathroom, removed her panties, and put it in her bag so that the man will not see it. Then she came and lay down, and opened the legs. In the context of the advice by the mother, right? The lady picked the advice of the mother as the conclusion that no man should see a lady's panty. And so she acted based on that. Sometimes your boss or your mother will tell you something. It doesn't mean it is the truth. But if you go on to make arguments or to engage in certain acts based on that, you commit a fallacy of appeal to authority. Fallacy of false cause. Sometimes we try to make a meaningful connection between one event and the other. That the first one is a cause of the other. When you begin to connect events like that, we are likely to commit a fallacy of wrong cause. Maybe I come to the classroom, I flick on the lights. As soon as I flicked on the lights, the classroom caught fire. And then we jump to the conclusion that the cause of the fire is me flicking on the lights. It may be true, it may not be true. But if it is not true, we are causing a fallacy of appeal to what? Cause, false cause. The cause is not the right, that what we are saying as the cause is not the right thing. And I like this example in the exam. Somebody is doing well at home, business, doing well, like Kofi Richmond doing well in business. And then he decides to go to the village. When he went to the village and came back, everything started going down. Then Kofi Richmond, the cause of his business collapsing is because he went to the village. Somebody is bewitching him. A fallacy of appeal to wrong cause. It may be true, it may not be true. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, slippery slope. Yes. Slippery slope is when you identify a minute evidence. On the basis of that minute evidence, you draw a conclusion that falls within the ambers of the future. You make a conclusion that completely is in this connection with the facts of the situation. So you say, Yah was late to work for 10 minutes. That's a fact. Then you jump into assumptions of what will be the case in the future. Then you conclude that tomorrow he may be late for 1 hour. What's your evidence? The evidence she's late for 10 minutes does not necessarily warrant you to draw the conclusion that he may be late for 1 hour tomorrow. And then continue to say that one day he will still to come to work completely. That's a slippery slope. You know a slope. Who has been to a mountain, the tip of the mountain, at the apex. When you slip slightly and you're not able to hold grip of yourself, what happens? You roll down to the base. That's how a slippery slope is. Very minute piece of evidence, you make a conclusion, moving from one conclusion to the other, and you begin to magnify the case. False analogy, comparing. When you compare two or more things, then you draw a conclusion. Collins looks like Kofi Richmond. Then I conclude that because they look alike, they have the same parents or they are siblings. That's false analogy. You may look alike, you have two people who look alike, but it is not necessarily the case that they are siblings. It is not necessarily the case that they have the same parents. But anytime you make an argument on the basis of analogy to draw a conclusion, you are likely to commit a fallacy of false analogy. That the analogy is not true. The comparison is not true. Then we look at fallacy of two wrongs, and we'll end. Next, we will continue. There's always a cliche that two wrongs do not make a right. If I slap you, and then you say you slap me because you are justified to slap me because I slapped you, you are committing a fallacy of two wrongs. Usually here, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is a fallacy of two wrongs. The fact that I have wronged you and done this does not justify your action to do same, retaliate to me. If you do that, you commit a fallacy of two wrongs. No, people try to, even in politics, they try to justify what you are doing now because the previous government also did the same thing. The fact that the previous government did what was wrong does not justify you doing the same thing which is wrong. Or in life, you have done what is wrong. Nobody, your wife, your husband, has not complained about it. Does not mean that you are justified to continue to do it. Any question? We'll go to ambiguity next week. I'll give you some 5 minutes to rest because our time is up. We'll go to ambiguities next week, and then we take, or even if you don't go there, we can skip that point and then take the next topic. Anytime we have a face-to-face, we'll take that last one. Any question? Any question? Right, so see you next week.
Okay, sir.
Bye-bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.